Undead Matt, and welcome to my macabre movie mania. Tonight, we're discussing one of the most diverse subgenres in horror. We're talking found footage movies. And I bring you one of the more competently made ones. Quarantine.
Hi, I'm Angela Vidal. Come with us tonight as we travel along with...
Sorry?
Ready?
Yeah, wait a second. You gotta...
Don't worry, I won't film this whole episode in found footage mode. Quarantine came out in 2008 and is a shot-for-shot remake of the Spanish movie Wreck, which only came out the year prior.
Y me ahogo. Espera.
Muy buenas noches, les habla Ángela Vidal. Hoy en Mientras usted duerme vamos a acompañar a una patrulla de bomberos en su recorrido nocturno por las calles de nuestra ciudad. Pero no solo eso, vamos a ver lo que nadie había visto antes. Cómo viven, cómo duermen, cómo descansan, cómo se preparan, qué comen. Vamos a ver el interior.
Sorry, a little off my game. I'll get there.
Oh, that wasn't bad. You know, the second part just seemed a little pushed though, so...
On tonight's night shift, we're in Los Angeles, traveling along with that special breed of hero we like to call... the fire department.
Which gave it a little bit of controversy, but we'll get there in a minute. So not only is this episode covering found footage horror movies, but we're also talking about the American remake of a foreign movie. Quarantine was brought to us by director John Dewell, who hasn't really done much, except Quarantine and Devil Elevator.
What are you doing?
Oh, when he's near, everything goes wrong. Toast falls jelly side down, children hit tables, and people get hurt.
Hey, please.
Quarantine follows the exploits of a reporter played by Dexter's Jennifer Carpenter.
A gross English titty vampire.
You just described the perfect woman.
She's making a segment on the day in the life of the fire department and is spending the night filming, the goings-on in a fire department and the fun that they can have.
Next time. I'm just saying. You guys ready?
All right, you know what you're doing now?
And go! Get in there! That's not nice! That's not fair! Push!
Thus sets in place our reason for the found footage, which is very important in a found footage movie. Why is it being recorded? Well, it's for news. The opening segment really takes down the guard of any viewers, showing us a light side without any hint of anything sinister possibly going on. It really makes you feel for these characters and really gets you into this world and makes you just induct into this whole found footage use.
All right. $100. Says I can bang her by the morning. Oh, come on.
I'll take that bet. Nice mic.
But of course, it's not all fun and games. Soon, the fire department gets a call about a woman screaming in her apartment, and they need paramedics and the fire department to break open the door.
Rotten, you know that?
To the core, baby. To the core.
Wait, is that Boris the Bullet Dodger?
You the one who called this in?
Yeah, I did. Come, follow me.
That is Boris the Bullet Dodger.
As in Boris the Bullet Dodger? Why do they call him the Bullet Dodger? Because he dodges bullets, Evie.
Once they break into the apartment, they find a woman covered in blood, drooling, and is very confused. She attacks and bites the police officer. Yes, this is also a zombie movie! The Return of the Zombies.
Danny, get everybody out of here. Back it up, please, please.
They try and take the injured policeman outside the building to safety, but soon find that they're being quarantined.
He said it! He said it!
Yes, the building is being locked down as a precaution for a biological agent. The old woman kills one of the firefighters and then meets her grisly doom.
Stay right where you are, okay? All right, we want to help you here, okay? Put your hands in the air for me, Mrs. Espinosa, okay? Put your hands in the air!
At this time, they decide to round up all the occupants of the apartment complex to make sure no one else is injured, and they find a couple sick people. One of the occupants is a veterinarian, and he finds something interesting about all their symptoms.
Come look. Her tear ducts, her salivary glands are constantly glowing. Right? She seems to be unable to swallow or speak. She has a fever. She's confused. She has some degree of paralysis and delirium. These are all rabies symptoms.
Yes, a form of super rabies. So these aren't just regular zombies. These are rage zombies. A subset of zombie who's not undead, but usually carries some sort of virus that makes them act on animalistic instincts and attack. So they aren't slow and decaying, but they are still just very dangerous and a bit faster. The movie then devolves into many gory deaths and pops up of more of these rage zombies as our reporter and her cameraman fight to save their lives. Our intrepid reporter soon finds herself in the top apartment of this building and finding some interesting artifacts.
What the hell?
It is shown in some articles and newspaper clippings in the top apartment that this unseen man that lives there has a virus that he stole from a doomsday cult that he was testing on rats, and the rats escaped and causing this havoc. This man is never seen in the movie. Where is he? We'll never know. The movie then abruptly ends, as it should, as any good found footage movie will, without any proper answers and with a dark, ambiguous ending. Quarantine made $41.3 million on a $12 million budget and garnered very mixed reviews, getting a 60% on Rotten Tomatoes and Bloody Disgusting giving it a 3.5 out of 5. Really depending on if you enjoy found footage or not. And of course, as I mentioned before, this movie stirred up quite a bit of controversy, as the original movie only came out a year prior and was a much smaller budget foreign movie. It was seen very exploitative that Hollywood would take this small budget horror foreign film and just copy and paste the script and throw a slightly bigger budget at it and cash in on it. And a lot of people see it as that, as just a cheap Hollywood cash in on a very thought out and interesting film. The co-writer of Wreck, the original movie, didn't care for the slight changes that this one made, and he felt it was exploitative, that it took his hard work and just copied and pasted. Although the director of Wreck does realize that the popularity of Quarantine actually pushed the popularity of Wreck, saying that they couldn't make the sequels without the popularity of Quarantine being what it was. And it was more of a commercial for their own movie and gave it a bit more exposure. Me personally, I very much enjoy Quarantine, although I like Wreck quite a bit more. Quarantine used its found footage mode and made some very claustrophobic and tight quarters. characters, sometimes relying a little too much on jump scares, but really working with the medium of the found footage.
We're standing outside an elderly woman's apartment. Neighbors heard screams and called 911. The fire department's about to begin the rescue process. Police say that she lives alone. She's not very social.
As you can only see the view, and you can't see the entire picture of what's going on. It's very limited in making it even creepier, and as I said, more claustrophobic. Of course, the differences in Quarantine and Wreck aren't very huge because, as I said, it was a shot-for-shot remake. But the biggest difference is being the ending. As in Wreck, the virus is actually a satanic curse brought on, and had much more of a religious input on the movie as a whole, where all that was wiped clean for the American audiences. Also, you can definitely tell the higher budget in Quarantine over Wreck, which I find it to its detriment, as the best found footage movies are shot on a very tight budget, making them use a lot more interesting techniques and uses. I should also mention now that I am quite a fan of found footage movies, because when they're done right, horror is the perfect genre for them. Quarantine was followed up in 2011 with Quarantine 2 Terminal. And as of right now, there is no plans, no interest, and no ideas to continue on the Quarantine franchise. But don't worry, if you need your found footage zombie movie fix, you can always watch the original Wreck, which had its own strain of sequels with Wreck 2, Wreck 3 Genesis, and Wreck 4 Apocalypse, all of which are very good movies if you don't mind me saying. So in the end, your enjoyment of Quarantine really depends on your enjoyment of found footage movies. I find that this is one of the better ones made, and although it has some minor problems with it, I find it very enjoyable. But again, I am a found footage fan. I do enjoy the original a bit more, but I do find it's a decent remake of it, and pays a lot of tributes. Is it exploitative? Who's to really say? Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna take a bit of a walk. Don't mind me, just walking around the haunted forest. Nothing to be scared of here.
Thanks again for joining me on another episode of Macabre Movie Mania. What'd you think of Quarantine? What do you think of found footage movies in general? Let me know in those comments below. Hit that thumbs up, and if you could, share this video with any of your horror fan friends. And remember, I vote on my episodes of Macabre Movie Mania, so make sure you follow me on Twitter at wizard_Matt to get your voice heard. And if you're not terribly busy, check out one of these two other videos. They are also very awesome. Thanks again for joining me.